This is OTC After Hours, where entrepreneurs unwind, talk real, and grow together.
Welcome, everybody, to a bonus episode of the OTC After Hours podcast. Joining me is Connor DeVries.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't seen one of these before, it's a little different than our standard off-the-clock podcast episode. This video will be featured on your page, and a person is probably watching it right now on your featured member page, which is very exciting.
Fantastic.
So you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we jump into the questions?
Yeah, I'm Connor DeVries. I live in Moscow, Idaho. I work at a financial advising office there, but I've got clients throughout Coeur d'Alene, Post Falls, Spokane area. And yeah, just got married year before last. I'm trying to think what else is new and exciting that's defining for me as a person. But and yeah, just broke into this. I've been in the market for a long time, probably 5 years seriously. So investing for 5 years, trading for 5 years, and swore I'd never trade anybody else's money or never invest for anybody else. And I've been at it for a year now, doing exactly that. So
awesome. You've moved through journalism, real estate, insurance adjusting, and now financial strategy. What's the through line most people would miss?
Yeah, I'll give you a kind of a...
Is there something that connects all of it?
Not really. I went to school for journalism, found out pretty early on. I had a great time in that major. I went to North Idaho College here in town. Loved it. I still have dinner with my old professor and some of my buddies who worked on the student newspaper there with me. But knew pretty much right away I didn't want to make a career out of it, but proceeded to work in journalism for a long time, all through the rest of my college career. I got a job at a newspaper that summer, my first semester in college. I got a job at a newspaper and worked in newspapers, radio for a long time, and including after college, after I graduated. And at one point, I was interviewing a local sheriff, and he mentioned he had this program where you could come in and basically learn how to be a deputy. You could, some reserve programs are kind of like, you can direct traffic on accident scenes and stuff, maybe really limited. But this was the real deal. You could get into a squad car, once you got trained, and you could go out and work cases, respond to calls, serve the community. And I thought that was really cool. So I did that for a bit. Thought of making a career out of it, even though in retrospect, I don't think I was actually that great at it. But realized I was colorblind, and I was going through some applications that I had already submitted and realized, I'm a little bit colorblind. I wonder if I can actually do this. Called one of the departments, and the guy said, nope, even a little bit is too much for us. We're taking you off the list. Thanks for letting us know. And so that career kind of went out the window. I had a buddy, though, that was in insurance adjusting, is an independent adjuster, and told me that, hey, if you worked criminal cases, on a volunteer basis, then you can work civil cases, which is essentially what insurance claims are. Why don't you come investigate for me? So I did that for 7 or 8 years. And like you said, I dabbled a little bit in college. I had different side jobs. I did page design, graphic design. I did some real estate marketing. But yeah, the main things I've done are journalism, and then got insurance adjusting and investigation. Did some PI more. I never held a PI license or private investigator license, but I did.
We should start a PI company someday. I think it'd be a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I have some great stories from that job.
I met someone who does that the other day at the lounge.
It's
I'm
fun.
Just like, tell me all your stories.
It's fun. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. But yeah, while I was at that, I started day trading, which is for most people, I think, a terrible idea. I'd never recommend it. But that got me interested in investing, markets just in general. I became a nerd about that. I passed 10,000 hours getting good at that a long time ago, and finally got to a point where I thought, I'm actually good at this. I could do this. I had a buddy, my buddy Drew, who I work with now, who'd been on my case to join him for a while in the insurance in the financial advising realm, and told him, not a chance. I am never going to be. I know what you guys do. You guys are insurance salesmen, and I am never going to do that. And he finally convinced me. Told me, look, I think once you see what we do in my office, I think you're not going to be I think you're going to like it, in short. And so I'd already developed enough, expertise in at least part of that sphere that I felt comfortable doing it. So yeah, I've been out of the year, and it's been a great time so far.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was probably way longer than what.
Oh no. I mean, this is your exclusive episode. I love the answer. You helping us get to know you better. You mentioned like seeing mediocre or even disastrous financial outcomes firsthand.
Oh yeah.
What are people consistently getting wrong, and when it comes to protecting and growing their money?
Well, yeah, and that in particular, what I saw in insurance adjusting a lot was people who had been sold insurance policies, and I did property and casualty, so every kind of property and casualty out there, and general liability, so I investigated injuries, and people would get sold on insurance products by people who were great at sales but didn't know much about insurance, and so they would check box. They would shop around for the best rates, trying to save people money, and wind up excluding things from policies that it turns out this particular person actually needed. And a classic example, and this is not insurance advice. Please do not quote me if you're going to change your insurance policy or go insurance shopping. Talk to your agent. But the classic example is insurance rep doesn't know much about construction, excludes asbestos coverage from a policy on an old home, which might have asbestos in it. And when it burns down and that's excluded, that can triple the cost of, that cleanup is very expensive. Mm-hmm. And so I saw a lot of that in the insurance industry. I saw a lot of people who were great salesmen, but did not have any expertise, didn't really understand the legal mechanics of how insurance works, how it comes into play, and gave bad advice and wrote inappropriate policies. And when I got into the financial advising world, I saw kind of a lot of the same thing, that there's a lot of salesmanship out there, and some of the people in it that are selling financial products are great salesmen. They are not interested in markets necessarily, and yeah, those are some of those instruments, financial instruments. They can be dangerous, and so yeah, I feel like I feel a good role in the industry. I actually do have hands-on experience. I invest my own money. I trade my own money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
Oh, just like what are the common pitfalls when people manage their own money?
When they manage their own money, I would say a common pitfall, big one, is just keeping stuff in savings accounts. And that is a great way, which I am guilty of. I did it all through my early 20s. I was making decent money, especially my mid 20s, and just kept it in savings. And yeah, inflation just destroys you if you do that. And so that's a big one. I get clients who are scared of the market, and the market can be a dangerous place. I don't blame anybody for being gun shy about it, but yeah, I think a big mistake is a lot of people just refuse to engage with the market at all. And again, this is not financial advice. Talk to your advisor, but I think that there's a perception out there that, well, I'm conservative, and conservative means I have a conservative personality. And, some advisors are like, well, are you conservative or aggressive? And they'll say conservative. Well, okay, then they'll put you in conservative investments. Well, those conservative investments can, maybe not keep pace with inflation. And they're actually, you might have a conservative personality. That doesn't mean traditionally what's considered a conservative investment is in your best interest. So you need to dig a little deeper than that, and hopefully find an advisor that is willing to dig deeper as well and has the expertise to do that.
Yeah. So everyone says they're different when it comes to financial advising.
Yeah.
What does a customized approach look like?
Yeah. I'll answer that first, and then we'll get to the second part. I think the customized approach has to take into to account a person's goals and values. And I think sometimes there's a tendency to, again, just kind of, a cookie cutter sort of rate how risk averse or, risk sensitive you are on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being conservative, 5 being aggressive. And it's kind of like, okay, we'll give you a statement every 4 months. You give us some money and we'll grow it as best we can based on that. And you got to do a little more digging that. You got to look at a person's taxes. And that's another thing I think a lot of places advertise really heavily in, you're probably paying too much in taxes. But when you look at what they do in terms of tax-sensitive investing, A lot of the time, the due diligence just really isn't there. You find people that they'll fill up not to get too in the weeds, but they'll fill up a portfolio with municipal bonds, and sometimes those can be a great investment. I'm not knocking them. Again, not financial advice, but they won't really. They'll think, oh, just municipal bonds are tax sensitive. This is a tax sensitive account. This person doesn't want to pay taxes. We'll just put municipal bonds in there. Well, that's not building a tailored portfolio. And sometimes those municipal bonds, again, are being outstripped by inflation. You're saving pennies in taxes by foregoing dollars of profit. And so I think you need to find somebody who's going to sit down with you and work with you, learn about who you are, what you want, not just give you a questionnaire about your risk tolerance.
Well, it sounds like a pretty complex industry with a lot of different ways it can go.
I think it can be, and I think everybody's at a different spot. If you're just starting out and just saving, it doesn't have to be that, starting a career and putting a little away for retirement doesn't have to be that complex. But when you get when you start to make more and more money and you start to deal with more and more tax stuff, and as a result of that, and a lot of what we do is inheritance type stuff, estate planning, and that does get quite complicated. And you can't just walk in there and slap somebody with a questionnaire about their risk tolerance.
There isn't like a one size fits
all.
No,
absolutely not. I mean, what we do is, we go in and we basically we look at every we'll have people really put the work in and give us a really good, clear image of what they spend their money on, what they how they're comfortable saving, what their expenses tend to be, all kinds of things. We really want to get to know them before slapping them with some kind of plan that, we want to make sure that that's absolutely right.
Yeah. Do you feel like the questionnaires and the kind of plug and play is where most advisors fall short? Yeah, I think it makes it easy if you don't want to, especially if you don't want to learn tax code. And again, I'm not a CPA, so this is not tax advice. But I think, again, going back to the muni bonds thing, which I've seen a few times, it's just like, well, if this advisor had bothered to educate himself and look at the, some tax, you don't have to geek out over it, but I think the cookie cutter approach is, let's just fill this tax sensitive account with municipal bonds. It's like, well, yeah, you probably could have done a better job for the person actually structuring a plan that, looks at where they're at in their tax bracket. Okay, how much can we fill up? Looking at some different strategies there. And people, I think maybe people are intimidated by learning tax code. I don't know, but that can be an issue, I think. And what was the second part of your question there? Oh, it was basically that.
Okay.
Yeah, you covered it. Between journalism, investigation work, and adjusting, you've operated in environments where details matter. How has that shaped the way you evaluate risk today?
How I evaluate risk?
Mm-hmm. Those are very detail-oriented industries.
Yeah, they are. And I would say you can't be, in all of them, I think the kind of common denominator there is you can't be satisfied with maybe the first answer, especially when I was investigating insurance claims. First answer was, very questionable a lot of the time. And it's the same when you're dealing with someone's finances. A lot of people they actually are kind of on autopilot about their basic budget, let alone finance and investing in the more complex side. They actually really don't know how much they spend. And unfortunately, a lot of advisors are comfortable with letting people kind of stay there and not exploring, hey, you got this, you got a hole in the boat here, stuff's leaking here. Are you concerned about it? Are you aware of it? Are you interested in working with me to fix it? If not, no problem. But let's build something from the ground up. And when people come into our office and say, "Oh, I spend about X amount a month," and then 2 or 3 questions later, you realize, no, you don't. It's a good thing you're here because you don't understand your own finances even at that basic level. So. So just asking more questions, I guess, would be the common thing.
Yeah. Outside of business, music, jiu-jitsu, even learning Russian, what's something from those experiences that unexpectedly influenced how you show up professionally?
I would say, just in general, I think I've come to the conclusion through learning music, being a musician, and being and learning Russian that I am not, and trading, markets. I'm just not the fastest learner out there, and I think that's almost been helpful to me in a way because I might not learn as quickly as some other people, but my strength is that persistence. I will bang away at something. I will mull something over until I absolutely know everything there is to know about it. And I think, and I think that's been good for me to learn and just realize that I don't have to, I can take my time, and thorough knowledge will come. Learning the guitar was not an easy process, and there are days when you just want to throw it out the window and be done with it. And the persistence pays off. And this career, I'm sure, will throw plenty of curveballs my way. And just it's nice to be able to look back at a track record of, if you persist, you're going to do well.
Yeah. I know you can't give financial advice, but can you criticize widely known financial advice that you disagree with? Probably
I don't
not.
know that I would. I don't know that I would do
All
that.
right. No contrarian take for you.
No.
Would have been fun, though. Without naming names, what's a situation you've seen where things went really wrong financially? Is that something you can talk about? Some kind of an example?
Not.
That's
I think,
okay.
fortunately, I've avoided.
We're in small rural Idaho.
Yeah,
I respect
I don't
the
know that
anonymity.
I don't know that I actually could point, even if I wanted to a real disaster. Fortunately, I think there's been ups and downs, but no one's gone broke, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, and then I just being in the industry long enough, I figure that you've seen some things not go so well, whether it's the advisor's fault,
and
or
I would say,
or even just life.
Well, I mean, in the trading world, I've seen so many problems stem from trading. I think especially during COVID, it seemed like every other person had a brokerage account, and people were on Wall Street bets going crazy. And I definitely have seen the outcome of when investing becomes gambling, and that's obviously terrible, and something I tend to try to steer people away from within reason. But and largely successfully. I haven't had anybody go broke yet, so that's always good.
How do you feel about those digital gambling apps?
Not a fan of gambling at all, which, I think it's a very, that's not investing, not a good investment strategy. Talk to an advisor. Don't,
What's
don't
the
try to make it
difference
big there.
between investing and gambling? I mean, so there's the stock market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like crypto stuff. Is there any difference between the stock market and crypto?
Yes, I mean, there are all kinds of technical differences that we could get into the weeds on. I think in terms of to your original point, what's the difference between gambling and investing? I think investing the way most people do it, and I think probably the way most people should do it, is you're putting money expecting a portion. You put in money expecting a portion of the general return, the general growth. Gambling, and to a large extent day trading, is more of a zero-sum game where, in order for you to win, somebody else has to lose, and you are going up against people who are just better at it than you are, generally speaking. You're going if you are picking stocks and trading really rapidly, you're basically telling the people who largely create the price through their buying and selling. People like the top investment banks, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, the experts and geniuses with supercomputers in the C-suites, that they're wrong about the price. Is that really a game you want to be playing? And I think for most people, no, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be playing that game against a zero-sum game against people who live and breathe it. But generally, investing is not. I mean, obviously, yeah, you can try to time the market, you try to beat the market. There are strategies to do that. But generally, the idea of investing is you're putting an investment in, and your investment is growing with the growth of value. It's not a zero-sum game, and so that's what I would say.
Right.
Probably
A lot less like rug pulls in the real financial sector.
Yes, and generally speaking, that everybody can win. If you're value investing or investing in other kind of traditional ways, everybody, you can all share in the growth of value of a company or a basket of companies. Where again, day trading and gambling is very much, you're betting your skill about which way the stock is going to go versus some guy on the other end, and one of you is going to be out money at the end. One of you is going to take the other's money in that exchange.
Yeah.
So and again, a lot of the time, the person on the other end of that exchange is a supercomputer or an investment banker or a combination of the two, and you just don't have the expertise that they do. So,
right,
dangerous game to be playing. So.
This is going to kind of date our interview, but there's a war going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
How does that change the attitude for professionals like you that help with investing? Do you become more cautious, or do you just follow the beat of how your clients are feeling?
Yeah, I think every client is different about that. And I will say I'm very skeptical about a lot of the advice. You asked about what's advice out there that tends to be wrong or that I would criticize. I think lately I've had conversations where I was telling people they needed to turn off the TV to a large extent, that there's just a lot of fear-mongering that goes on there. No one has a crystal ball about the market. I don't, I've, as I said, a certain amount of experience in the market, pretty successful at it, but I don't know what it's going to do tomorrow, and I don't know what the goal of what the outcome of the war will be. And so sometimes you get people on TV that are just, either doom and gloom or on the other side, just you gotta be in now. And nobody really should be that confident. The more I'm in the market, the more respect for it that I have, and the more I realize it's very hard to predict. So yeah, every client's different. You just got to walk them through it. Everyone's at a different point in their lives. Everybody has different liquidity needs. But I think the general thread running through it is you just got to avoid the scaremongering that I think goes on social media and on TV a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in situations like with the war. And you need to have somebody you can trust who's been in the market, an advisor who can kind of navigate you through it.
Yeah. Is there anything that you do in particular to kind of help bring peace to your clients when it comes to investing?
I think being a good listener is always a good thing. I think money is an emotional thing for people, and I can geek out about charts and PE values and all the rest of it. Most people don't need to hear about that stuff, and it's just it's babble to them. And so I guess I would say my experience has been I've got my opinions and about what the right answers are, the best answers given what we know, given what I know for my clients. But I think being a good listener has served me the best, and being willing to work with people where they, will say, I hear what you're saying, but I'm just not ready for that level of risk right now, or I hear what you're saying, but I'm willing to take this risk that you think is maybe overkill for my given situation, and just being like, all right, I've heard you out. I see where you're coming from. Let's do it together. I'm on board. So yeah, I guess that would be my long-winded answer to that pretty simple question.
Well, you've been all over a few different industries in your life. Where you are right now, do you see yourself here in the next 10 years?
Oh yeah,
what
I think
are your big goals?
I'm going to stay here. I think I've always loved the markets as long as I've been in them. I like dealing with people. My last job, being an insurance adjuster and investigator, was very I think, more hostile. There's a lot of conflict management that went into that job, which I didn't mind, but it's great when people look forward to seeing me and I'm solving problems for them. I'm not the company hatchet man or the hired gun that's coming out to tell them, that they are not entitled to what they think they're entitled to a lot of the time. So it's great on many levels. Technically, I like, I could geek out about stocks and charts and stuff all day long. But I also like the relationships that I build with people in this business a lot more than the kind of relationships I've had in other spheres. But yeah, can't say for sure. Who knows where fate will carry me, but I'm very content here right now for sure.
Good. That's a good place to be.
Yeah.
And it is nice when, the clients that you work with actually like you.
That's nice. It's a plus. Yeah. I didn't realize how much I had missed it. I just gotten used to being kind of the bad guy and not always. I mean, I had great relationships with people, and I made me a great conflict resolution expert. I did a lot of it, and I got very good at it, and had lots of positive interactions. But it's really just, it's better to be where I'm at now, I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. I do want to thank you for your support of Off the Clock and having such loyalty and helping us grow. And weren't you there day one?
Yeah, I was there for the very first one. I saw it on your Facebook page, and I thought, I'll reconnect with Travis over a cigar. That sounds perfect.
No, it's really exciting where things are going, and I appreciate you being a featured member and sharing your story with us.
Yeah, well, I'm thrilled to be here. I've had a great time. I've learned a lot. I mean, people, like we just did the podcast earlier today. It's a fantastic conversation. It's drawn a great group of people, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. So
it's cool to be part of something where it's just causing people to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should probably say, again, just for the record, just to be sure, none of that is financial advice. Do not go act in the market based on anything I've said. Find a financial advisor that you trust, who's willing to put the work into learning who you are and what you're about and what you want out of your money. And
this podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
Exactly.
You can take his life advice, but not for our finances.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Unless you want to work with them, you could.
There's that.
Are you allowed to say that?
Certainly, yeah. Find me on the OTC. You just told me the web address.
OTCnetworking.com.
OTCnetworking.com.
/Connor.
Yep, I'll be there.
I don't know if it's the full name or what, but you'll find it. It's very easy to navigate. Yep. Well, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.